Good morning. This is Pastor Jason of Kona Faith Center with the word for today. And the word for today is prayer. We have a strong emphasis on the word at Kona Faith Center. We have a daily Bible reading program. We have partners that we share what the Lord speaks to us about us through the daily Bible reading. My personal emphasis is the word, the word, the word. I was asked recently about how I first started to follow Jesus and grow and mature in my walk with him. And I recognized that for me, I started by reading the Word. My first study Bible was a Dake's Annotated Bible, which I read cover to cover, although it was more like following the rabbit trails from front to back. There was a season when I read that Bible 2 to 4 hours a day. My sense is that the Lord has been talking to me about making prayer an emphasis. Paul writes in Colossians, devote yourself to prayer. I remember when I discovered a teaching by Larry Lee called Could You Not Pray 1 Hour? It revolutionized my prayer life. It helped me establish a daily prayer pattern, a daily prayer habit, and fairly quickly a daily prayer stronghold. That was in the summer of 1988. I have pretty much prayed on a daily basis since. Yet I found myself repenting this last week for a prayer life that is mostly praying for me and we. Paul says, pray for an open door for the gospel. I've prayed over the years for a move of the Spirit, revival, awakening, transformation, whatever you want to call it, when a large group of people turn and start to follow Jesus in a real way. My position is that only God can make that happen, yet God asks us to pray, to petition him for what he wants to do in the first place. Theologically, I think that because God has given man a lease on the earth to satisfy the righteousness and justness of his nature, he doesn't do anything on earth unless a man asks him. I suppose we could abdicate our authority. We can make excuses for not doing one of the primary things God asks us to do by saying Jesus is a man and he ever lives to make intercession for us. But I don't think God's impressed with some clever use of his word to get out of doing what he says. The word is ringing louder in my ears. Devote myself to prayer. Keep praying. Keep alert in prayer. Give thanks always. Pray for an open door for the gospel. Pray for clarity in preaching. Be wise. Pay attention. Expect that God answers prayer, and be ready to make the most of the opportunities God brings our way in response to our prayers. Speak grace, speak truth, speak things that preserve life, but say what God says, and we find out what God says in prayer. Encourage each other with God's words. Stand complete and in full assurance about God's will. How do you do that? You pray and find out. Early this morning, before reading, I found myself repenting for a weak prayer life. I mean, I pray daily, but am I really praying in faith with complete and full assurance that God will answer my prayers that are according to his will? Do I expect the answers to those prayers? Doesn't the Bible tell us that a prayer of a righteous person avails much? Of course it does. I think God is calling me, I think God is calling us to a prayer life that is much more effective than ours currently is. So I want to challenge you today as I'm being challenged today. Devote yourself to prayer and giving of thanks. Pray for an open door for the gospel. Expect, have a confident expectation. Be wise. Be prepared to take the most advantage possible of the opportunities that God brings our way. The word for today is prayer. God bless. Check in tomorrow.